Hey everybody, welcome to another Cleaning and Cocktails episode. Today I got the pleasure of talking a little shop and introducing my guest here, Cristobal. I'll be calling him Cristobal throughout. He said it's okay, I'm gonna do it, okay? You guys, I'm excited to introduce him. I actually came across Cristobal on one of his posts, and I saw that, you know, here's a guy that has built a cleaning company and was giving back and providing courses and teaching other small business owners, which you guys know. What is this show about? The show is about empowering the cleaning industry, bringing on folks that are sharing their knowledge, telling their story. Whether you're a cleaning business owner, supplier, manufacturer, mentor, a coach, technology, software developer, everything and anything that you're doing to impact our industry in a positive way is what I like to share here and bring you onto the show. So Cristobal, thank you for taking a moment to coming on, sharing your story. And man, I'm super excited. I came across here. I literally one time I saw your post. I was like, I got to reach out to this guy. I just got to hear your story. So you guys, this will be the first time I hear his full story too. So without further ado, Cristobal, how did you get into the cleaning industry, man? And share people where you're from, right?
Yes,
Seattle,
yes.
I believe, right?
That's right. Well, Ricardo, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate, and I love, to connect with like-minded people, right? We're in the industry trying to better for the, for everyone else. I think it's a very important thing that you're also doing. So yeah, a little bit of me. How do I get up in the cleaning business? Long story short, I moved from Mexico back in 2001. I came here because I needed some money to go back to Mexico and finish my mechanic engineering career. I had, at the time, I was 18. I had now my wife pregnant at the time, so I was like, ouch! I need money so I can afford my career and then start something. So I came here, and it was more like a culture shock for me. I didn't speak English at the time. I moved here to Washington. It was super cold. It was raining all the time. So like, maybe this is not what I wanted. So I go back to Mexico with some money that I have saved, and then I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna have the same opportunities that I saw in America, even if I finish my career. So I decided, you know what?
Oh, so you came and then went back to Mexico,
and I went back
right?
to Mexico.
Because I see that you got your degree in mechanical engineering, pero in Mexico.
So with the intent of actually finishing it. So I had before I came here the first time, I had 2 years of mechanic engineer, and then that's when my son was born, and so I had to, like, the idea at the time was like, I'm just gonna go to America, work for a couple of years, make enough money so I can come back, finish the other 3 years, and then we'll see what happens. But when I went back, that's when I realized that even though I didn't do much in the first 2 years that I was here, I just saw there was more opportunities. Literally, it was just a matter of the barrier for me was the language. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and take some courses in English so I can understand more, so I can communicate. Because if you can't communicate, there's it's just hitting a wall all the time.
Yeah, your limit.
You're very
you reached the limit. Yeah.
So came back, but this time I told my wife, well, you need to come and let's bring the kids. At this time now I have 2 kids, my son and my daughter. So we moved here. I landed a few jobs, mostly in the restaurant industry. So I was a cook, moved my way up to becoming a chef, and I worked there for a good time. I think it was like about 6 years.
So real quick though, Cristobal, so you said chef. So you were so you went from a cook to a chef. So right there, I already know this guy's that you like to move up the ladder, because like you cook to chef.
That's right.
Did you want that though, or you were just?
It was more like an opportunity.
Did it organically
that fell on my lap? This is a funny story. So I was working as a cook for a good amount of time, and after the 3rd year, the chef, he was a person from Guadalajara, and I remember he's like, hey, I'm gonna take some vacations. He had to take care of some legal documents on some land in Jalisco. So he went back, and I was his right hand man, and so I kind of took over for the idea was like for 2 weeks. Eventually, his name was Tony, the chef. So Tony eventually calls the restaurant and says, like, you know what? I actually have more things going on. I don't think I'm gonna come back anytime soon. So the owner is like, Chris, you want the position? And I'm like, I'll do it. I just wanted
Oh
to
man,
do it. And funny story, the first week it was hell. I run out of food. Imagine it was on a Friday. I remember they said it was on a Friday. I run out of beans and I run out of rice in a Mexican
come
restaurant. Like,
on.
what are you doing?
Oh,
So it
I bet
was
that never happened again.
it,
Though.
it didn't
That never
happen
happened
again.
again.
After that, I was like,
Okay.
this is not gonna happen. So I started, figuring out how to do it faster and whatnot. And so I liked it. I love. It's one of my passions to actually cook, and I always wanted to open a restaurant. I did open a restaurant, and it didn't work well. But and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But
Yeah.
uh, like how did I end up moving into cleaning? After 6 years, I wanted extra income. So this is a story, right? So my kid has autism, so we needed to pay for therapies and medications. So I need more income. So I went and looked for a second job. The restaurant, it was most of the time evenings, right? That was my schedule. So I was looking for someone in the
Mhm.
mornings. I walk into a car dealership thinking, hey, I'm looking for a part-time job, cleaning cars, parking cars, something related to that. The owner comes out and he's like, do you speak Spanish? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I need a car salesman. And I'm like, I don't know how to sell. He's like, I will teach you. And I'm like, wow, that's not
Yeah.
really what I wanted, but okay. So he's like, come back tomorrow, where I
So this is the second thing that you walked into that you didn't want,
didn't want.
or you didn't know you were going to walk into.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
go the next day, and a funny thing happened. It's kind of like beginner's luck when you choose something and then you strike a luck. This very first day I go, and I have a guy who's like gonna teach me the process and how to take the customer welcoming, take him to a test drive, and then essentially do the deal. I go there, and my first customer buys a truck and everything. He was like we call him on the dealer's lay down. He was ready to buy. He was not ready.
Oh, so you guys got names for people like
Yes,
this.
they do. They have a
okay.
slang.
So you got
They
names
do have a
the
slang
lay
for
down.
the type of customer. It's I kid you not. So I do the paperwork, right, and the guy finance the car. He takes off, and the manager tells me, Chris, do you know how much you made in commission? I'm like, I don't know, how much did I make? He's like, $800. And I'm like, really? I said, you know what?
Damn.
The restaurant can go bye-bye. I'm going to focus on this. Because I figure,
Yeah.
I made what I used to make in a week. I made it in a day.
In one sitting.
Yes. And so I'm
In
like,
one day.
this is it. So I jumped completely. And this is another story. You don't sell cars every day. So that's when I'm like, after a week, you're like, oh, where's the customers, right?
Where's the $800 at?
I thought it was going to be on a daily basis. But still, I knew that there was a big difference, from physically working, doing something, that this is more like dealing with people, communicating, making connections. So I like that. I was like, all right, this is good. So I worked there for a little while, and because I speak Spanish and English, I was able to sell, to two different markets. So that put me always on the top one or top or number two in the sales board, making good money. But when you work in a car dealership, and everybody who's been working in a car dealership will agree with me, it's long hours. So even though you don't do physical work, you have to be there every day from 8 to 8, 7 days a week, because if you don't do that, you don't make money. So it's all commission.
No, Chris, right out, I got my operations. My COO, Dom, came from car sales, and my partner and director on the maintenance side, Jay, they both came from
the
and
car
that's
industry.
The thing is, the money's good. The money's really good, but that's where I think you mature to know it's more than just
more than just the money.
It's the way of life, and like you said, it's not labor intensive. But I got to tell you, because they're phenomenal team members on the team, but that had to have formed you to who you are today, right? Like sales.
It's a skill.
Like, it is so important. Your people skills, sales skills, like selling. That's got
a lot of people here like, oh, I'm not good selling. Like, we're all good sellers. All you need to do is just ask the right questions, and then it happens naturally. But the thing is that people don't do it.
You got to break through the because it's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable.
Right?
It's not.
You're trying to have somebody buy something that they may or may not need. It's your job to show them why
Exactly. That's
right?
it. That's just get information from them.
That's it. Did I nail it?
I nailed it perfectly, because that's all it is in sales, right? You just ask questions, and even if they're hesitant, okay, what is stopping you from moving forward? Then you ask more questions until you find the reason, and then you make the deal. So yes, it's very important. It's a skill that eventually it helped me to run my cleaning business. But
so let's talk about Queen Bee.
Queen Bee. There you go.
Let's where did the name Queen Bee
this is a funny story.
There we go. That's cheers.
Another one.
We didn't even cheers.
There
first.
you go.
We didn't even cheers first.
There
cheers.
you go.
Here we go.
My best friend Raul, it was funny. So I'm making sales. My friend Raul also works in the car dealer, and my wife, she was already working for another cleaning lady, and she was kind of working for her. And my wife, she's like, Chris, there's money to be made in here. We should start our own. I'm like, no. What are you talking about? We're making good money. But the thing, I was losing a lot of time with my kids. And so that was one of the things, what, maybe we should give it a try. So I said, fine, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna quit. I'm just gonna open the business license. You do the jobs. I'll sell over the phone. Well, no, don't sell over the phone yet. I'm gonna make appointments so we can do the quotes.
So you can go
exactly.
do the walk.
So I was like, okay, let's do it. So that weekend, I go with my buddy Raul to tell him, hey, I'm gonna be doing this, and probably, if it takes off, then I'm just gonna be living here. And he was wearing a polo shirt with stripes, like black and yellow stripes, and he's chubby. So he's like, hey man. So we started like tinkering about names, and I'm like, what about Bumblebee? You look at Bumblebee, like Bumblebee cleaning service. Like,
you look like a Bumblebee.
And so he's like, yeah. And actually, that was the original name I came up with. So I come back with my wife, like, hey, I actually came up with a good name. Let's do Bumblebee cleaning service. And she's like, Bumblebee? He's like, how do we do with Queen Bee? And I'm like, I like that too. So I was like, okay. And then that's it. And then it stuck. So, all right, now.
Then Queen Bee is born. What year was Queen Bee born?
It was in 2015, January of 2015.
Okay.
And the first weeks were so funny at the dealership, because I was listing my phone on the website, and I was posting ads on Craigslist. At the time, I didn't know much about marketing. All I knew was posting ads on Craigslist. I knew Craigslist, there was a high traffic page, so the customers are there. So I started doing that, and I will get a phone call. And because back in the day, there was no technology that we do have today, I didn't know whether it was a car customer or a person looking for cleaning. So I will step out of the showroom floor and say, hey, can I help you? Oh, yeah, I'm looking for a move out, blah, 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 blah. I will take the notes and we'll say, okay, let's make an appointment for Friday or Saturday, and then we'll provide you the quote. Because that was the original mode that we started, right? You have to look at the property first in order to provide a quote. And it sounded like everyone is doing that way, so let's do that. So that was the original step, right? I will post that on Craigslist. I will take the calls, make appointments for the weekend, and then do the jobs. And while we were landing a few jobs, it was kind of like becoming like hectic. We're now like dealing with the dealership and the calls, but it was incredible. 3 months, and the third month after started. So this is March 2015. We take a look at our first profit and loss, and she brought, because I was not doing it in the cleanings. She brought $18,000 for the third month, and I'm like, wow, there is actually more.
So the third month alone was 18,000.
So the first month was
that's good.
3,000, and second month we did, I think, 6 or 8. I don't remember exactly, but the third one, it was 18. That's when my eyes were like, wow, it's really taking off. And at the time, it was my wife with her best friend. So it was like a two-person show.
Two-person show. Okay.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I presented my resignation with the dealership. I said, hey, 2 weeks, I'm going to be leaving. They're like, okay, we'll wish you good luck. Great. And like anything, right? So I jump off the ship. I decided to go with Queen Bee. And man, the fourth month, it was just chaos. It was like we did a lot of refunds. We got our first bad review. It was like everything was like against me now. And I was this close to call back my dealership
You're like,
and
my
say,
luck
can,
ran
can,
out.
can I get my
Son
job
of a
back, please? Because it's not working now like you're thinking.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So I was scary, but I was like, you know what? I just did it. Let's just keep going. From there, I was like, you know what? Every time I get us, we do something wrong, I'm just gonna try to figure out how we can prevent that, and then start making our own money. Because we had so many bad information at the beginning, Ricardo. I'm sure you'll run into these situations, because you don't know anyone, right? And you ask people who's been doing it a little bit, and sometimes they have bad information, and then
Yeah. Or they don't want to help
they
you.
don't want to help
Right?
you,
Like
exactly.
they don't want to
So
help you.
I
Yeah.
go there and I'm like, one of the first errors that we did, it was, how do we pay our cleaners? My wife used to get paid per job. So I was like, well, that's the standard way of doing it. So we started time paying, per job to the cleaners. The first year, man, I get a letter from the labor industry. So like, hey, we need all the bank deposits from the previous year, the invoices that you have generated, and the time cards of your employees. So I'm like, well, I have everything but the time cards because they don't clock in.
Oh yeah.
I just pay them per job.
You're paying them per
So
job.
I'm thinking, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go. They're probably gonna tell me, "Oh, you're not supposed to do this. Going forward, you need to do this." So I thought,
Oh no. You owe me
no,
money.
yeah, it's
You
like.
owe me money.
So they started asking me different questions, right? And I was so naive, and I didn't think about like at least a strategy to try to defend. I was so honest. So how do you take the cleaner? So how do you dispatch the jobs? Oh, I actually take the jobs, put them on the calendar, and I actually drive the girls around. Okay, and then you're just taking notes, right? And okay, so how do you pay? The time cards. I didn't bring time cards because we actually pay this way. And I brought like the copies. Okay, every job we pay 50% of it.
Chris should have called me.
And
Come
oh
on,
my
man.
god! And all you're doing is taking notes, and I'm like, okay, so they let me go. I go back home. I'm thinking, okay, nothing happened. It was just more like an interview. Then I got a call, right? Like 5 days later, hey, after investigation, we found out that you misclassified these people. So essentially, they're your employees, and based on the amount that you have brought in, we believe that you owe about 12,000 and some change in back taxes. And I'm like, what? So I said,
Yeah.
can I?
Check the bank account. Bank account doesn't
Oh
have that
man,
much. You're like,
it was
holy
rough
crap.
because think of it now. It was not like for example, I have had issues sometimes with the Irish before. In the Irish, they're not the baddest. A lot of people are scared of them, but all they want is
it's you
just
gotta
work with them.
you gotta check the
That's it.
boxes. You gotta check the boxes.
That's it.
That's it. Kicked you in the butt.
It was like,
Kicked you in the butt,
and
but
I'm glad it
molded you.
happened at the first year, Ricardo. Because imagine if I would have continued working that way, 2-3 years down the road, I get audited, and then they're like, "Oh wow, yeah, you actually owe $500,000. I'll be totally screwed."
No.
So I'm glad it
Yeah.
happened that way. But when we went back, and I'm like, okay, so now we had to pay an employee. That's when Elle and I, they're like, you're supposed to pay from the time they get to your office to the time they come back. I'm like, okay, well, I can do that, right? But now you have to work. Now you have to have workers' comp or industrial insurance, and that's going to add up a certain percentage of your payroll. I said, fine, okay.
Yeah.
So we do that. In the second year, we almost thought like. So when you're paying as a subcontractor, you make more money essentially, and there's ways to do it right. At the time, I just had bad information, and that's what I got, out and actually found, that I was misclassified. Little did I know, I said there's a way, right? But I figured, well, no worries. I'm just gonna with the employee model. I actually now understand a little bit more. I can train them. I can tell them how to do things. I'm like, okay, it's actually not that bad. Just my profit is gonna be a little less because now I have to pay insurance and other things, right?
Yeah.
But and then from there, I started with the employee model every time, and so ever since, we start growing more and more. I think it's one of the best business decisions I ever made, right? When it comes to opening a cleaning business, it's always been growing year after year, and it's very profitable because the overhead is not that crazy. I mean, I don't have too much overhead, so still, even though I have employees, I still make a good profit. And so
Chris, what about so right now what I got down is you're at about 20 employees.
That's right
now, and you've gotten up to about 3.7 million
that's
in
correct.
revenue. Now is that total revenue or is that
That is
annual
total
revenue
revenue. So
that you're
the
producing?
from
Total revenue.
2015, I think we just passed the four.
So yeah, show me where'd you come from 15, 16, 17, 18? Like, how did you
For
progress
sure.
to get? Because I'm always I'm infatuated, Chris, with residential
Yep.
cleaning, right? Because I do commercial cleaning. So the fact that you can grow your business
Mhm.
that much, I get FOMO, right? Because I've never done it. So I'm like, how do you guys do this? So like, show us, because we have a lot of listeners that are residential cleaners too.
Definitely.
So how did that look
Well,
like? What did that look like?
Our numbers, I'm pulling my screen here, and then to give you an idea, the first year after we operated, with the subcontractor model, we made $280,000 total. From there, we went to employee model. Second year, we did 400. Third year in 2017, we actually dropped down to $345,000. But then 2018 went back to $492,000. 2019, $715,000. 2020, when COVID hit, we dropped down to $689,000 total of the year. But 2021, it was like 1.5 million. It was like literally the
Whoa,
last year
dude,
we double in size, we double in revenue, more than double. And
man.
it's,
Well, here,
you know
another
what?
cheers.
Yes, no, thank you, my
Another
friend.
cheers. No, because I'll tell you what. I don't know if you've heard me before say this, but hitting the $1 million mark revenue in this industry, it's something to be very proud of, Chris, because
Thank you.
only 10%,
That's
10%
what
of
I
the
read.
industry
It's a very small percentage
reaches
of
that.
that. So cheers for
Yeah.
that. And
So let's talk. So because you've said this before, but I don't think I'm hearing you speak, and I know we were speaking Spanish before we got on here, so obviously we can speak Spanish all day, pero estamos hablando en inglés. Was because my question is, what challenges did you face? And I brought the language up because I know there's a lot of especially the Hispanic community. We're usually the workers, Cristobal, right? But yeah, now we're the owners. We're growing our own businesses. So something that I've never said on the show that I think I should say more and more is my dad would always tell me a good saying of "Si se puede."
That's our
Si se puede.
mental yeah.
We're showing that right now that "Si se puede," and for everybody else, what that means is
you can do it.
It can be done, right?
Yes.
You can do it. So
anybody can do it.
Not that anybody can do this, but be ready to run, to struggle. Be ready to have tough times,
some long nights.
What do you have? Do you have a moment or anything that sticks out to you that you can share with us that was a challenge that you had to overcome? You touched on one right now. We're learning, about the whole IRS situation. What else?
I really think if I could go back and probably tell myself, 18-year-old, I would say definitely learn the language, right? That was my biggest struggle when I moved here. I thought, if I knew just a little bit, that should be enough, and it's not. It really, you cut yourself short if you don't learn the language. There's so many opportunities out there, but if you're not able to communicate or make connections, you just never get them.
And that's our job to do that, right?
It is our job. It's just making connections, in America, meeting people.
That's what we got to do. That's what we got to do.
That's it. Reach out. Put yourself out there, because this is something I don't remember where I heard that, but like somebody else has your millions. You just need to put yourself out there so you can find that person. But if you never speak, you're always shy. You're always afraid of trying new things. Things are not gonna come to you. So you kind of have to look for them and make your own luck in a way.
Yeah. So all right. So you guys are hearing everything. Again, Chris, just so you know, a lot of our audience is small business owners up to medium and large size. But one thing that I just wanted to touch on and highlight you and your success is you're still in the business, you're grinding in the industry, growing your business, but you found time to give back and actually build a program or a coursework, right? And I want you to share it a little bit on, because that takes a lot for somebody to spend the time and the commitment. I know this, right? Because I've done this myself, is to give back and share. And I've seen, man, again, I followed that post. It took one post for me to find you. Is people appreciate you, man. They actually feel like they resonate with your story and the way you present the course and talk about how you started, you're not saying you're the best. You're not saying you're perfect. You're not saying it's a guarantee. I feel your passion when you're talking. So it's not even like an ad, man. I got to tell you, like your post doesn't even feel like it makes you like, hey, let me click here. Like, let me just click here. What's this about? So what made you say, I'm going to still continue to run my business, but I'm actually going to create this course and share my knowledge?
That's another funny story I have.
Man, I got funny stories all day here.
Yeah, so I have a lot of stories. So this is happening in October, right? In October of last year, I got approached by a YouTube channel. They were doing interviews for local businesses in the Washington and Oregon area, and they were like, "Hey, we saw that you have actually a lot of good reviews. Would you be interested in doing an interview?" And I figured, sure, let's do it. I saw the YouTube channel. I saw that they were like, always interviewing small business owners and kind of like telling me, how do you got to where you are today? So I got excited. I was like, oh, that's actually a good opportunity. At the time, I was more interested maybe just put my company name out there, but I was not really thinking about becoming a coach or anything like that. So the interview, they come here and they're like, hey, we're going to keep it casual. You share whatever you want to share and then we'll go from there. I said, fine. And, I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch that YouTube video. And if you don't, we'll put the link below.
We're going to put that link in. My assistant, Vianney. Vianney's like, dude, she's like, that's a good one. It was a good episode.
It is, right? So I figure, you know what? This is one of the things I figure. If I want to really, reach out to more people, I'll be honest with everything. So I share everything. I share how do I get my jobs? How do I handle, my day-to-day operations? How to handle the Airbnb side of the business? I really drop a lot of gems, and so the episode goes out, and then the YouTube channel told me, hey, just make sure to respond to the comments, right? Keep it engaged. So I said, fine. And you go through the comments, everybody's like, Chris, do you have a course? Do you have a course? I'm like, I don't.
But I should.
I really don't, but I should. So I figure, you know what? And I saw that opportunity, right? That when you sometimes opportunities fall in your lap, and then if you see them, I'm like, you're just gonna go for it. So progress over perfection, right? I would have probably take longer time to create the course, but I figured, right, let's just do it, make it happen, and let's see when it takes this. So in a week, I came up with my best tricks, my best strategies that I use. And not only that, I figure, a lot of people don't even know how to start their business the right way. So I'm going to also cover that. So in my course, I really cover like how to get a professional email address. That's very important. How do you present your company out there? If you use a free email address, you might get jobs, but if you have a professional with a domain, it just makes you stand out. So from that, get your professional email address, get a website, right? Put your business out there. I have a lot of business friends who are starting and they're like, oh, I already have my business cards. While they do work, there's better ways, and it's online. Right? You can reach more people online that by giving business cards. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put a simple course that is not overwhelming, because it's a lot to learn. It's actually a lot of moving pieces, right? But I figured if I put the most concise information that people can take, do this, you can expect that right away. And if you keep doing this, you will see the results. So I figured, okay, let's do it. So I launched it. And I'm thinking, this is funny. I launched it on Black Friday. This is funny. I was so afraid to do it in the morning, right? I had the course. I made the course the week before the Black Friday. So I said, I'm going to launch it on Black Friday. Morning, wake up. I take a look again at the videos. Everything looks good. But I'm like, have that fear. Like, should I do it? Probably. If I don't get a sale, I'm going to feel bad, right? But I'm like, let's just do it. So launch it. And man, I kid you not, I think the first Friday, I think we got like 40 purchases. I was ecstatic. Wow. I was like, I cannot believe this. And then the feedback was very important to me. The people who bought it, they're like, Chris, thank you, because actually you're sharing a lot of gold nuggets in here, and I really appreciate it. Great. And I'm like, you know what? This is great feedback. Now it makes me feel like, okay, I'm actually doing a job.
You're helping. It's working.
Yes, and I'm like, okay. And so from there, people are like, oh, do you also do like coaching? I'm like, I don't, but I think I could. I don't think it's that hard. So
right. You're a yes guy. You're a yes guy.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
like, let's see it. It's a yes, right? It's just like you don't know. Even if you don't know it, right? You're gonna figure it out. So I started with my first meeting. I said, okay, I'm gonna do some coaching, and it was so simple. All people is wanting is just information. Like, how
Yeah.
do you did this?
It's
I'll
information.
tell them exactly.
Yeah. Be
That's it.
informative. Be
Be
informative.
informative.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And I think so the course has been running since late November. I'm sorry. So it's been December, January, and February, and I think so far I have 270 students
Wow.
already. And so it's just been a blessing, really. Everything started from that YouTube channel. I shared some of my best tricks and tips, and that opened the opportunity to become a coach. And I'm like, yes, I'm just gonna jump on the opportunity, and here we are, Ricardo. So it's been an interesting last 12, 14 months.
Wow, man. Well, hey, again, just I want to cheers to you, my man. Right?
Cheers, brother.
Because again, I know how much effort it takes to put this stuff out, man. So I appreciate you giving back like that.
No, thank you.
I know for because to wrap things up too, to come to an end here is obviously are you so 100% Mexican American?
100% born in Mexico,
Born in
but
Mexico.
mostly grew up in here.
Yeah. So, Chris, what advice would you give? Because I get a lot of Latinos, Latinas, single mothers, single fathers that language happens to always be something, right? Or they don't
Yep.
they don't think they sometimes don't feel they can take that step to be the entrepreneur. But I'm
Exactly.
seeing it happen more and more now.
Yep.
What would you say to that person right now? Is if they're listening, like again, I know we said that phrase before, right? Si se puede, but like what would you tell them? Like because it's for us, for me and you, that hits near and dear, on
Yes,
who we are.
I
But
think one of the biggest thing I could probably tell,
you can say
to
it
la
in English and
raza,
say it in Spanish
to
as
la
well too,
raza,
Chris. Yeah.
it's just about, give yourself a shot. Even if you don't know how to do it, just go for it. Worst case scenario, you go back to whatever you were doing,
Yeah.
right? But if you don't try, you don't give yourself a shot, you cut yourself short.
Yeah.
That decision could have been the difference, from, better your life or you stay where you are. So I think if I could say, focus on developing language skills. Like if you cannot communicate, that's always going to be the biggest hurdle for you to grow or get business. But if you focus first on that, everything else will come by itself. But you really need to start, like I think to my Latino people, right? Invest some time in and developing your own skills, like personal language, social skills. Put yourself out there, become uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I walk into a new customer, I do a walkthrough, I feel anxious. I still do after so many years doing it.
Yeah.
It's natural, it's normal. And I think that's what stops people from keep doing it. It's like, I just didn't feel good. It makes me feel awkward. But you just keep doing it. It's just part of this process.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, you put yourself out there, really give it a shot. Whatever it is, just go for it. I promise you, once that you're in the middle of something, your brain will start working and will start figuring out things.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Nice, man. Nice. I appreciate that. Or when all else fails, call Chris and he'll say yes and he'll figure it out for you.
There you go. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together.
Nice, man. Nice.
Awesome.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Share your story, share the nuggets. Any last things you want to leave to the audience? Let them know anything about what you got going on, what's coming up in the pipeline.
Yes.
Are you going to have some of these classes in Spanish, Chris? Maybe that's a question I would ask.
Right.
I mean, what? Yeah, let us know. Leave us some closing notes.
It's funny. When I launched the course, I figured, well, I'm just going to do it in English, right? And a lot of people have reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, Chris, it's the course in Spanish." I'm like, unfortunately, it's not. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to re-edit it and I'm going to put subtitles in it. That way, more Spanish can jump on it and the opportunity. I really do believe that, I just shared the numbers with you. We were doing just over $500,000 3 years before. Post COVID, the demand it's through the roof. And so I really truly believe it's the best time for anyone to start a cleaning business. There's demand is out there. People want their their homes clean, their offices clean, their businesses.
But it's and even Be professional, right? Get
Be
educated,
professional.
learn,
That's right.
learn best practice, learn
Best
the
practices.
processes, put the systems,
Reach out to
put the
people
time in
who
place.
already done it.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
see where you want to see yourself and say, okay, who's done it before? And then reach out to them. A lot of people think like, oh, if I ask, they're probably not going to share anything with me. Um, just ask,
yeah. Ask. You never
it
know.
doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Nice, man. Well, hey, Chris, we're gonna share your information. Hope you're okay with sharing
Yeah,
your contact information.
absolutely.
We'll share that in the posting down low. We post this on YouTube. Everybody knows that. You're gonna be able to watch this video on
Fantastic.
on our YouTube channel or listen to us on all the podcast channels out there. So again, Chris, thank you,
Cheers,
my
brother.
man, mi hermano. Gracias.
Hermano,
All
gracias
right.
por la invitación.
All right, guys. And that's Cleaning and Cocktails for today. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope the nuggets that we were dropping here show you guys how, keep pushing, get out there, build your business, build your brand. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.